The color of the surface has changed this week. The game remained the same, but with different requirements. The highlight of the grass season took center stage this week for many players ATP ranked between 100 and 250, qualifying for Wimbledon. So close, and yet still so far away from many players. What does it mean to play the qualification here? Find out more in this video. Flying to Stansted is an option, but not a recommended one. Located in the north, it means at least 2 more hours by public transport after arrival to get close to Wimbledon, which is in southwest London. This time our hotel was in a very quiet location and surrounded by greenery. Only one evening there was a music festival on the hotel lawn, and the atmosphere there was excellent. Hopefully a good way to get in the mood for the tournament. As always, the qualification for Wimbledon takes place in Roehampton. Last year I already reported on the conditions on site. Below is the link to this video. Once again this year, everything was almost well organized. Why almost? Our first training session took place on a match court, and that is precious time. Jurij had a training session with Basilashvili on court 16, and that's the furthest court from the players' area. Basilashvili arrived a few minutes late, and when it was time to start, Jurij was standing on one side of the baseline and his practice partner on the other, both looking at each other perplexed. We asked if he had balls. He asked us if we had balls. Both questions were answered in the negative. So we were finally on the court and still couldn't play. We were told at the practice desk that Basilashvili already had the balls, and he was given the same information. So we both had no balls. Jurij then made a very long sprint to get the balls, and practice could start 10 minutes late. It was Jurij's first training session on grass, but his partner didn't give him much time to get used to it. From the third contact onwards, Nicolas hit the usual full speed balls, and that really meant speed. But you could see that Jurij had his experience on grass from the past, and he was able to handle it well from the start. So it was still a good first practice session. The second session also went very well that day, so the first steps on grass were mastered. The first few days were a bit unusual by British standards. For me, it was the first time that it was really hot and humid at this tournament. Otherwise, the conditions were good as usual. On Sunday, the day before the start of the qualification, all the players were of course on site, and there was the usual hustle and bustle before the start. Jurij played 2 more sessions that day. It was windy conditions, but you have to take things as they come, even if that is not always easy for Jurij. The draw also came out in the afternoon that day. The number 1 seed Fucsovics from Hungary was a tough opponent in the first round. There are still some good draws, especially at this tournament, as many players don't feel so comfortable on grass. The conditions are a lot slower compared to the past, but the grass is still not everyone's cup of tea. That's why the individual ranking in the ATP rankings is less meaningful here. Experience is very important here, knowing how to move on grass, as it uses different muscle groups, and of course, the selection of strokes in combination with the right idea in challenging situations. Unfortunately, at least from Jurij's point of view the next day, his opponent Fucsovics was able to make the right decisions consistently. His experience was also clearly visible, and so Jurij had to acknowledge the strength of his opponent. Jurij didn't play a bad match, and there were certainly many he would beat on grass on a day like this. But it was not enough for the Hungarian. Here in Roehampton, not far from the prestigious Wimbledon, the qualifying matches were also well attended. For us, however, the topic of grass was already over. In the meantime, Slava Bielinski and Sebastian Sorger continued to train in Vienna. The temperatures rose significantly. The summer is now noticeable. The first half of the year is already over. Time flies very quickly. In tennis, you practically live from week to week, and you often don't realize how quickly these weeks fly by. Slava and Sebastian delivered very good quality again this week. The second half of the year can come. That tennis for successful weeks is recognizable. The declared goal is to solve important situations even better in the matches. Then the necessary points for the world rankings should follow. See you in a week for the next video, and thank you for your interest.